All right, so this video is going to hopefully help us have a more successful peer review for Unit 1. Peer review is handled very similar to what you've been doing for the activity responses. So as a reminder, in some respects, peer reviews will not be assigned until after the deadline for uploading the rough draft has passed. So it doesn't matter if you upload your rough draft early or if you do it right before the deadline. It's not until the deadline actually passes that you will be assigned 2 of your classmates' papers to peer review. Now, you've already, as I said, been doing some of this process, so it should not be completely unfamiliar to you. But if you need a refresher, remember, down in the technology tutorials area, there is a tutorial for Canvas and peer review. So if you need a refresher in terms of, where to find peer review, it's all going to be in that area. So a few things that may or may not have been completely apparent as of yet is the fact that you are not able to go back in and make changes once you have submitted your review. Now, the reviews you've been doing for the short activities haven't had a whole lot of elements to them, but for peer review, there are a number of things you're going to be looking for, and we'll touch on that in a moment. And I want to make sure that I'm really emphasizing the fact that once you click submit, or if you exit out of things before you have completed the review, there isn't any way to go back in. And if that does happen to you, email me as soon as possible, and we will create an alternate arrangement where you will do the feedback outside of Canvas, and then I will pass that on to the individual to which you had been assigned. So there are workarounds for it, but we need to know about those things as soon as possible. Now, one of the things, and there was a small problem with this for the activity feedback, is making sure that comments are being left for each of the criteria. Now, for the activities, there's 3 different areas that you have to select, and you don't have to leave a comment for the first 2. You really are just rating things based on that longer description, and you need to enter the comment for that 3rd one where you are answering that longer question. For peer review for Unit 1, you're going to need to insert comments for each of the many rows that are in the rubric. So you're going to need to click on that little comment thing on, comment symbol on at the very end, so that it'll open up the comment box so that you can actually leave feedback. And in some areas, you might actually be doing the in-text, so actually opening up, as it shows kind of right here, their document, so that you can highlight and potentially leave feedback on the actual document itself. But this is kind of secondary with respect to feedback. The primary feedback that you leave should be in those comment boxes. Now, when you go back into our class, and from here, where you go into the assignment submission links, this is where you're going to see, you should have already submitted your assignment 1 rough draft for your conference. And then when you click on the assignment 1 rough draft 2 for peer review, here is where you're going to see the rubric. Now, because this is just showing you what the rubric is, it doesn't have the comment boxes. You'll see those comment boxes when you actually go in to complete a peer review, and then you will also see the individual person's paper as well. Now, some of these things, as you're looking at them, where it's like criteria, rhetorical knowledge, focus on a purpose, rhetorical knowledge, respond to the needs of, different audiences. You're like, okay, what exactly does all of this mean? What am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to say? And this is where the assignment sheet itself is going to be extremely important, especially for this rhetorical knowledge section. So if you open up the assignment sheet, you're going to see all of these requirements. Here, you're going to see the audience, the guidelines, the things that people need to do, strategies for crafting the assignment, what the outcomes are, And so looking at these will help you to be able to respond to those classes. So here we see the audience as classmates and professor who are unfamiliar with your chosen topic. So if this is the audience, it means you can't assume that the person reading your paper is in the know. It's not a family member or a friend who might have been at a particular event or eaten a particular meal with you. So you have to make sure that you're providing, enough details for this particular audience. So when you are reading your classmate's rough draft and you get to the part where it's like, respond to the needs of different audiences, well, your classmates, your professor who weren't there are going to need a fair amount of detail in order for them to see the connection between those details and the claim. What's the rhetorical situation? Well, when you look in here, and you're looking at the, requirements for things, is there a strong sense of purpose and audience, appropriate evidence from your life? These are the things that you're going to be looking for and responding to, with respect to these different elements. Knowledge of conventions, learn common formats for different kinds of texts. Well, what is the format that we are using for this class? It is APA 7th edition student. So you can take a look at that and you can make a determination of, are they applying the necessary format for the text? Develop knowledge of conventions ranging from structure and paragraphing to tone and mechanics. So when you read your classmate's paper and you're looking at the paragraphs, the way that they, connect, is there, a logical, flow to the paper? Does it make sense in terms of the way the information is being presented? Is the tone appropriate? This is for classmates and professors, so you can't necessarily write this as if you were texting your best friend. Thinking about, grammar, punctuation, spelling, are you noticing a lot of problems there? Now, in terms of some of these things for process, you might again look at this and go, I'm not quite sure, what it is I'm supposed to do with this. And in some respects, these should be, easy ones to be able to give, fairly strong marks in terms of, creating multiple drafts, understand writing as an open process that permits writers to use later invention and rethinking. So a lot of this is more going to be, yep, they did their draft, they are being a part of this writing process, so there's not going to be a whole lot of feedback, going on in these last ones. The primary and where a lot of your feedback should be and where the majority of your grade is going to come from is going to be giving your classmates feedback on these top elements. Now, these are the exact same elements that are going to be used for the grading conferences. So you want to, that's why we're using them here, because these are also going to be used to actually grade your papers. So getting feedback on them now is going to help you in the long run to hopefully achieve a higher grade in that respect. So hopefully this video was helpful in terms of completing peer review. And if you do have any questions, as always, please email me, set up a meeting, whatever I can do to be helpful, to make you and to help you to be successful in this course.